In this video, I'll use some of the contents of my kitchen cupboard to help me seal punctures in a tubeless tyre. I'll be using vinegar. In my last tubeless video, I investigated if tubeless sealant would work. It didn't go well. I couldn't get it to reliably seal even very small holes in a tyre. This is the first of a couple of tricks I'll use to try to get punctures to seal more effectively. Tubeless tyre sealants are mainly latex, which is a suspension of natural polymer particles in water. Natural rubber is formed when the particles coagulate. Coagulation can happen when the water evaporates, but this can take some time. Here I'm going to force coagulation by adding a small amount of acid, that vinegar. As you can see here, adding the vinegar causes the latex to skin over and the natural rubber to form into a solid. The sealant coagulating is what we would like to happen as it forces its way out of a punctured tyre. The trouble is, I don't see a mechanism that forces the sealant to coagulate, at least not quickly. This is probably why in my previous test the sealant remained liquid and did not fully block the puncture holes, and punctures that I've witnessed out on the road have not sealed properly either. Here's that tubeless tyre which has a number of punctures. It also has about 2 fluid ounces of tyre sealant in it. I'm injecting some vinegar into the puncture holes so that it contacts the sealant. The sealant should coagulate and therefore help in sealing the punctures. I'm going around the tyre injecting as many holes as I can identify, and now I'll swish the sealant around the tyre to try to get it to seal those holes.
50 psi, and I can hear air leaking out of the tyre. Actually, that one is blocked up a bit. I can see that the sealant on it has started to coagulate a little bit. Similarly, with this one, you can see that the sealant is coagulating, so it may be helping. This one is still leaking, not helping at all, I don't think. This one is still leaking, so it's not helping. This one looks as though it perhaps has worked a little bit. This one is still leaking too. So it looks like pretty much all of the holes continue to leak despite putting the vinegar on there. So I've let that down to a level where the tyre sealant has stopped bubbling at those holes.
Again inject the vinegar. Hopefully this time the low pressure will mean the vinegar will penetrate further into the holes, and swish the sealant around the tyre again.
I think I'll just go to about 30 psi to start with. And I can hear hissing already, so I know not all of the holes have sealed. No, there's one here. There's a mist of sealant coming out. Putting the vinegar on there has failed. I suspect the vinegar will work, as I showed in the demonstration earlier. The only trouble is, I can't get it deep enough in the cut in order for it to make a difference. This morning when I came down, after about 12 hours, it was totally flat. I repumped this up into 30 psi about 2 hours ago. 13 psi, which is not really surprising because I don't know if you can see that, but there is air still bubbling out there.
The chemistry and the bench testing I carried out suggests the vinegar should help the sealant coagulate and therefore help block holes in tyres. Sealant did seem to slow down the rate of air loss through puncture holes, but it did not completely seal the holes in most cases. Applying the vinegar did not help the sealant to seal. I don't think I can get the sealant far enough into the holes and cuts, so my experiments to make the sealant more effective were a failure. In my next video in this series, I'll be trying my next trick. I hope that one works better. From me, until that next video, it's goodbye. Although I won't be using tubeless tyres myself, I think I'll put a small test tube of vinegar in my saddlebag. Then, if my tubeless cycling companions have a problem, I can try this out on a real puncture.